So the thing you're seeing fall in front of you was one of my greatest creations. But I'm not here to have it fall. I'm here to show you how it was built. Come on, check out the video, and we'll see if we can make something really cool. Welcome to the channel. Alright, so the first thing I did was pick a spot. And I knew I wanted it to be on the plains because I wanted to connect to one of the pillars around the side. So I picked a spot that sat in between 3 pillars. Alright, so we got a pine tree here. After we got the pine tree, I wanted to make sure there was a moat around it so that no trolls, no nothing could break my pine tree. Because things can damage it. So I wanted to make it as safe as possible. So we built up as high as we can and we built down as high as we can. Or we dug down as far as we could. This is going to be the foundation for our entire structure, so I wanted to make it as clean and as strong as possible. Once we were done, we had a nice little pillar with a pine tree on top of it. And a bunch of places we could connect to around it, making it ideal for me. Then I had to build a little base of operation at the bottom so that I can continue to build up. Someplace where we could hide the forge, someplace where we could hide the workbench, and keep it safe. Gonna build up onto the center tree. But before we build up onto that center tree, we need proof of concept. I had to jump into a solo world to test it out so I wouldn't break my build. Right. The 23 poles is like this. That's 23. That's pretty freaking long. Right, so 56 distance. That's what 23 looks like. This was me seeing if wood would stick into a tree, if stone would stick to a tree, what we could do for the top, and what we need to do for a base. And then you have to make sure that your tree never, ever breaks. We trained for days and days and days. I feel like Kung Fu Panda. Yeah. The wushu finger held. It's a wushu finger held. You wouldn't. Skidoosh. After training, we decided to start building. So we spiraled up around the tree, the base of the tree, knowing that we could connect stairs to everything. And we tried to get up as tall as we could so that we could put the foundation for the top part of the base. The top part of the base is going to be resting on the top of the tree, the tippity top. And once I found the tippity-top part of the tree, even though the tree graphic is waving in the wind, the tree is over there, I placed it as central as I could, and then we jumped down to connect one of the pillars. It's important to note that even though it looks like I've connected these iron poles to the stone, I did. And later on I had to go back and make sure that the iron poles were connected to the base foundation stone, not the stone that I had created. Otherwise, it wouldn't go out as far as my test. That's about as far as it'll let me go before things start to drop off. And once things start to drop off, all I did was build a small connection to the other side, leap across, and continue there. So right here is where you can see that I have connected it to the actual foundation. Even though the ironwood poles look like they're connected to the stone, the ironwood poles were made first. The stone was made second. After we made the connection to the tree, I jumped across, made sure that we could just build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 iron poles before everything fell, and then we connected it. One really important thing to note is as we run up and down this line, when the ironwood poles are red, absolute red at their most, the wood sections connected to it are green. They start off with 1 durability loss, rather than being fully secure, which is a blue notification. The stairwell was not easy, but I came up from the pathway that we just built up as high as I could, and then every time one of the stairs started to fall apart, I built a connection to the tree. Just used an ironwood connection and did it before the connection would fail. Then I turned the stairs 1 tick and connected it to the very edge, and continued spiraling up. My goal here was to try and cover up all the leaves of the tree, so it looked like you couldn't see a tree inside. Once we were on top, I made the top look a little bit cleaner, cooler, but mostly this was about building as high as I could. If you notice, the ironwood is actually connected to the tree, not to my base. A little tip of the tree object is sticking through the top of my base, and I attach the ironwood to that. We spiraled up so we could get no higher, and then we built a roof. I built a square roof this time. Sometimes I like circle, but in the end I decided on square. But then I built 3 different tiers of roofs. So we built 1 tier of roof. I thought that looked nice. Then I built another tier of roof. And then I built a 3rd tier of roof. Each one supported with iron poles all off of the bottom. And then I built a little platform to stand on, which I immediately changed because I didn't like the design and made it look a little cleaner. So we had a little bird's nest on top. Then we came back down to the livable area and tried to make it look a little cleaner. I wanted a circle, but since I had built 2 different connections to the side, it couldn't really be as clean as I wanted. So I did my best, spiraled around, and repeated a lot of patterns. It ended up working out really well. And that's where I have my bed. The rest of it is all decoration. I built something to hide the tree, a spine on the back of it, and I built another platform underneath the tree to cover all of the leaves. The only other touchy part was trying to build this cage around the center of the tree, I guess the rib cage. I kept having to build a little bit, go out and look to see, is this what I want? Is this going to look correct? Looking all up and down the whole thing and then going back to it and looking around. It was very frustrating because I kept falling through the tree to the ground, either dying and having to respawn, or just taking a massive amount of damage and having to run all the way back up. This spine was very annoying. If you do anything like this, make sure you have platforms instead of falling and falling and falling. I kept this part in the very end because while editing I noticed how beautiful the sun was, how beautiful the scenery was, and then I saw how frustrated I looked over and over again. And there's me falling again, running back up to the top, and the game revealing an even more beautiful view. So if you continue to build things like this that frustrate you, keep in mind, the process is part of it. There's some really beautiful moments. I hope you can focus on those and not get frustrated. Happy building. Now we get a bird's eye view of the finished product. At the top, we've got a teleporter, and of course those roofs. Followed by the second layer, which I put a dragon's egg to make it look like it's sitting on the dragon's egg. Thought that was really cool. Followed by what I keep thinking of as the rib cage of this thing, with a bunch of work that's overlaid over and over, help that repetitive pattern. Then a little spot you can hang out. Maybe we can get something to eat there. Finally down to the ground. Access for you to jump up, but not access for trolls to kill. If you'd like to come by and check out my channel, www.twitch.tv/BaldZebra, come check me out. I do this stuff live all the time. Have a wonderful day.